Let me tell you the easiest way to fail the LSAT. It's not using the wrong prep book, it's not skipping a practice test, and it's not running out of time on reading comp. The real way people fail the LSAT is they care way too much about what other people think. They hold back and they don't go all in. Why? Because they're afraid of looking like they're trying too hard. They're scared to bring their prep books to the coffee shop. They feel weird telling their friends, I can't come tonight because I'm doing logical reasoning drills, so they play small. And that right there is how they lose. Because the people who score 170 plus, they look at all that and they say, so what? They're the ones doing timed sections on Saturday mornings. They're the ones reviewing every single wrong answer, even when no one's watching. They're the ones who say, I don't care what this looks like. I care about where it gets me. This one's for you if you've ever felt like the only one in your circle taking this test seriously. If you've ever felt a little crazy for saying no to plans so you can study, and if you've ever felt like no one around you gets how much this matters. You're not wrong, you're just ahead. First, you've got to stop taking advice from people who've never taken the LSAT themselves. Most of the advice you're getting from them is useless. Your friend who says, don't worry, it's just a test, they haven't actually taken it. Your family member who tells you to just be confident doesn't get how hard this actually is. The people who partied through undergrad and coasted into a school that didn't even require the LSAT, these should not be your role models. If someone hasn't taken a modern LSAT, if they haven't earned a top score, if they haven't gotten into a top law school with scholarship money, they do not get a vote in how you study. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It just means they're not qualified to guide you. And when it comes to something this important, you need guidance from people who've actually done it. And if that means your real life circle doesn't understand you right now, that's okay. You're not behind, you're just building a new path. Now, let me say it clearly, the LSAT does not reward dabblers. You don't get a 170 by doing just a few questions here and there. You don't get scholarships for kind of understanding the material. If you want extreme results, you've got to put in extreme effort. Not forever, but just for right now. Someone stuck at a 155 usually asks, should I take another full practice test? That's the wrong question. The better question is, why did I fall for that wrong answer? What was it about this stimulus that confused me? And what do I keep getting wrong and why? If you're not asking questions like that, if you're not breaking down every mistake until it makes sense, if you're not journaling about your thought process, you're still on the surface. And this test rewards people who go deep. The LSAT is not about perfection, but it is about obsession, with clarity, with logic, and with your own thought patterns. Now, you want to know the difference between someone who scores a 152 and a 177? It's not intelligence. It's not strategy. It's just standards. The student who gets a 177 says to themselves, I missed that question, but why? They don't say, that was a tricky one, so I'll just move on. They say to themselves, I'm not going to let that trick me again. They treat every missed question like a teacher. Most people accept good enough, but top scorers refuse to settle because you're not just learning how to take a test. You're becoming someone who refuses to settle for confusion, who refuses to move on until they understand why. That shift from getting by to getting better is everything. Now, there are going to be moments when this sucks. You're going to bomb a section, you're going to freeze on test day, and you'll miss a question you thought you understood, and you might think, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And that moment right there, that's the real test, because pain is part of the process. If you're struggling, you're not failing, you're actually growing. Most people quit not because they can't get better, but because they think they shouldn't be struggling. And that right there is the lie. Every breakthrough I've seen in LSAT prep came right after the lowest point. So if you're at the low point right now, you're closer than you think. Now, nobody's going to throw you a parade for doing LSAT prep on a Friday night. No one's going to text you great job after you finished LSAT prep test 105 for the third time. And that's fine. You don't need applause. But what you do need is this. You've got to become the kind of person who tracks your own progress, who celebrates the small wins, who says to themselves, that was hard, but I did it anyway. The LSAT isn't glamorous, but the people who win, they treat every small gain like a win worth noticing. You don't need everyone's approval, you've just got to have your own commitment. Now, most people want to look like they're crushing it without actually doing the work, but you've got to flip that. Trade Short-term cool for long-term power. Trade comfort for clarity and trade distractions for decisions. That might mean skipping trips, and that might mean staying in on a Saturday night. It might mean taking time off just to go all in for the next 6 weeks. And yeah, some people aren't going to get it, but guess what? Those same people are going to be shocked when you open your offer letter with a 6-figure scholarship. So you got to make a choice. You can impress people today, or you can change your life in the next few months. Now, let's say you take the test and you don't hit your goal score. That's not failure. That's just data. Every test teaches you something if you let it. But the only way to really fail the LSAT is to give up. But if you're willing to show up again and review, relearn, and refocus, you're still in the game. You're not looking for perfection, you're building up persistence, and that's what actually gets results.